on, guys? We are here today with my first ever What's for Dinner. This is where I am showing you 3 to 4 dinner style meals, and pretty much we're just gonna cook together. So I love watching these types of videos. If you like these videos and want me to keep making these, please give this video a thumbs up. Comment your favorite go-to recipes. First meal that we are going to be doing is smothered pork chops with mashed potatoes and green beans. And of course gravy with it. So I'm pretty excited for this and I'm ready to get this started. We're going to start with the potatoes because I feel like that's gonna take a lot more prep than everything else. We have some potatoes here. I never know how much to peel though, so we're just going to see if this is enough. Every time I think of pork chops, I think of that Brady Bunch episode. Pork chops and applesauce. I used to love the Brady Bunch when I was a kid. They used to play it on Nick. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use the whole bag of potatoes because I felt like it wouldn't be enough for like leftovers. And I'm just gonna cut these into small pieces so that way it can boil. And did you know that you're supposed to boil the potatoes in cold water starting out in? They said you're supposed to do that so that way the potatoes can cook evenly, because if you start with boiling water, they'll cook on the outside before the inside gets a chance to cook. I need new knives. I feel like I'm like really working this potato. I have this on medium high, and you always want to salt your water with potatoes. I'm just carefully putting this in there. Oops. Oh my gosh, I'm making a mess. I definitely think I put way too much water in this, so I'm gonna have to take some out. And we're just gonna let this boil until it's fork tender. We're gonna start on the pork chops. I'm gonna go ahead and get the flour together. I'll make sure to leave the recipe down in the description box if you wanna try this out. The recipe only calls for half of a cup of flour, but I think we're gonna need more flour than what they are calling for. I'm gonna use a half a teaspoon garlic powder, onion powder, some seasoning salt. I'm gonna use a little bit of complete as well. Cracked black pepper. I'm just gonna mix that on up. So we're gonna move on to the pork. Now I got this big honking thing from Costco, so I'm only gonna use half of this and I'm going to trim off the fat. You want these to have a nice crust on them. So I have probably about 4 tablespoons of oil heated up. I'm just going to leave it alone. I want it to get a nice crust on it. The potatoes are done, so I'm just gonna go ahead and drain those now. I'm going to put a stick of butter in here. I'm going to add another, probably half a stick of butter. And I'm gonna add some salt and pepper. I have like 2 tablespoons of butter and about 1/4 of a cup or 1/4 of an onion. I'm just adding a big spoonful of garlic. The recipe says add 2 tablespoons of flour. I'm gonna do a little bit more since I have more pork. And I'm just gonna cook this until the raw flour taste is out. A 1/2 cup of chicken broth. I'm just gonna use some bouillon, chicken bouillon powder. And I'm gonna add probably about 1 cup of water just because I have more pork. I pretty much am doubling the sauce because I want it to be extra saucy. I'm adding about half of the water now just so I can break up the flour. Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to add some milk. The recipe calls for heavy cream or buttermilk, but I'm using milk. We're gonna let this come to a boil and then we're gonna add the pork back in. I've never made smothered pork chops though, so I'm pretty excited to see how this tastes. We're gonna keep the vegetable really simple and use these bird's eye skillets. It's garlic butter green beans, and I'm cooking 3 bags, so that way we can have leftovers.
Normally I would just serve it out of pots and pans, but I just wanted it to look nice for the video.
I doubled the gravy recipe and it still feels like it's not enough. I tasted the sauce and it tastes amazing. This is definitely going to be in the rotation of meals. I've been craving a big bowl of soup and I have been looking at tomato soup mainly because I have a lot of tomato paste and I want to use up some of the tomatoes that we have in the fridge. So I am going to make good old tomato soup and grilled cheese. I'm gonna make my grilled cheese like open faced though, because I feel like it's more like you're eating more bread. Now I'm using 2 different recipes. I'm gonna kind of smush them together, so I'll make sure to put them in the description box if you guys are interested. You need 3 pounds of fresh tomatoes A couple of mine went bad, so I have a little less, but that's okay. It says to cut them in lengthwise. I'm gonna kind of take out that middle part. Coat the tomatoes in 1/4 cup of olive oil. I think that's a little excessive. I am having a grilled cheese with some bread, so I'm gonna do half the amount of oil, and I think it'll still turn out good. So instead of 1/4 of a cup, I'm doing probably like 2 tablespoons. And I'm doing some freshly ground pepper today. This is just the base layer. I'm probably gonna add more seasonings when I'm actually cooking my soup. And I'm just gonna mix this up. And I preheated my oven to 400 degrees. And I'm just gonna put this on a parchment paper. I'm gonna put them cut side down. It doesn't say, but I don't know. The recipe wants me to cook the garlic with the onions in a skillet, but I think I'm gonna roast, it says 6 cloves. I'm just gonna use whatever's in this little packet. This is the kind that I have. I love getting the pre-peeled kind. I'm just gonna put this in some foil with a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper. Definitely more than 6 cloves, but that's okay. I'm just gonna do a dash of olive oil. Now they want you to roast this for 45 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the oven. We're gonna go ahead and get started on cutting the onions. Everything's gonna get blended, so I'm not too worried about making the onions perfectly small. I just want them diced so they're easier to saute. The recipe calls for 1 medium onion. This is just leftover onion that I had from the last recipe I did. And I don't have any more onion than this, so we're gonna have to make this work. This is a kind of bigger onion. I'm just gonna have this on a medium high heat. It calls for 2 tablespoons of butter. And I'm just gonna cook this until it's translucent. If you don't roast your garlic in the oven, this would be the time to add the garlic. I would wait probably like 5 minutes after cooking the onions. I'm going to add some salt, pepper, and a little red pepper flake. Like about this much. I love a lot of pepper, so I go OD on this. It also calls for 1 teaspoon of thyme, just to wake the spices up. And it actually says half a teaspoon if it's dry. Good, I read that because I was about to put a full teaspoon in. And oh my gosh, the thyme instantly makes it smell like soup. All right, now one of the recipes does not call for this, but another one does. So I'm gonna add some tomato paste. And I heard you're supposed to cook it before you add liquids to kind of wake it up. So I put probably 2 tablespoons. It was not filming, but I just added 4 teaspoons of chicken bouillon, and I'm gonna add 4 cups of water now. It calls for a 28 can of whole tomatoes. All I have is 14-ounce cans of diced tomatoes, so that is what I'm going to use. And it says to cook this for 40 minutes, which is perfect because we still have about 30 more minutes of the roasted tomatoes in the oven. So they should be done around the same time. I almost forgot the most important thing, the basil. One recipe calls for like 4 cups of basil. I just got 1 of these. I had more, but they went bad. So I'm just gonna rinse this off and put the whole thing in the pot. This has about 10 more minutes, so I'm so happy I remembered the basil. Oh, it smells so good. It smells like a really good pasta sauce. I'm just gonna put this in here, and you're really supposed to let hot food cool off a little bit. So I'm just gonna let this cool off a little bit before I blend it up. Ooh, the garlic smells so good. I'm gonna make sure I get all this sauce, all these juices. Okay, I think it's cool enough. I'm just gonna pour this in here and blend the rest of the soup up. I'm just gonna pour this back in. I'm gonna put this back on the stove. So one of the recipes called for some cream, but I'm gonna taste it because it looks pretty creamy to me. I'm also gonna see if it needs any seasonings. That's really good. I am gonna put some cream in it. It calls for about half a cup. I'm gonna put a little bit more salt in it. It calls for a half a cup. Now it's time to make the grilled cheese. I'm actually gonna do cheese toast because I need more surface area. Makes me feel like I'm eating more bread. For a good grilled cheese, the secret is butter. You need butter. And toasting both sides of the bread. I have some brioche style bread. I'm gonna let it toast about 1 to 2 minutes on each side. I just have Kobe Jack cheese. And then I'm just gonna bring the heat all the way down so that way the other side won't burn while the cheese is melting. I'm just going to give me a bowl of this.
This soup was so good, I ate it for days.
That's really good. Have you guys ever had the pesto butter salmon from Costco? I get it all the time when I'm there, the ready and go meals, but this costs $30. So I wanted to see if I can recreate it with some of the stuff that I got from Costco. I got their Kirkland brand pesto. I heard really good things about it. So I figured they probably just use this pesto with butter and put it on their salmon. So we're gonna try it. I'm gonna have it with some asparagus, some rice, and I'm gonna cook extra rice because that's gonna be for tomorrow's meal. I like to put foil over my rice. This ensures that the steam stays in the rice. Next, we're gonna take about 6 tablespoons of butter and 1 serving of this pesto, which is 1/4 of a cup. And we're gonna mix it together. I'm mixing up the pesto just to get all the oil to distribute through all of the bottle.
Extra. Nobody cared. That wasn't even gonna fall. Keila, I saved it for falling.
I'm doing about a tablespoon per salmon fillet. That's why I came up with the 6 tablespoons. This is the Pam olive oil. This is my first time getting it. And we're just gonna lay the fillets down. I'm gonna do skin side down, just so that way all the seasoning and stuff can get on top of the fillet. Ooh, hopefully everything's gonna fit. I wasn't recording, but I just added some salt and I'm gonna put some pepper on it. I'm gonna put this in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. I'm gonna rinse off this asparagus and then I'm gonna pat dry it. There's actually a great way to figure out how to cut the asparagus. You just take both ends and you slightly bend it. And wherever it snaps, that's where you wanna cut all of them. This is trash. All right, I'm gonna show you guys again. Yep, they're about the same size. So that's where we're gonna cut.
It's all fine.
And then you can throw all those away, or you can use it as stock, a veggie stock. I'm not that creative though.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. I'm just gonna use this spray. I'm gonna spray the tops just so that way the seasoning can stick. I'm gonna add some pepper and some seasoning salt. You can put garlic on this, that'll be really good. I'm just gonna keep it super basic today. Since the pesto is gonna be the star of the show. I'm gonna put some of this sauce over the rice.
This was an amazing meal. I think the asparagus and the fish go so well together, but feel free to change up the vegetables and the carbs. You can honestly pair this with anything.
So today is the last meal that we're cooking for this week, and I had a craving for chicken fried rice, so I planned ahead and I made extra rice for the salmon recipe that you guys already saw. So now we are going to make chicken fried rice. I'm so excited. I've probably made this maybe one other time, but it was so long ago I don't even remember how it tastes. So I hope this is a really good recipe. I got this recipe from Christy at home. I will make sure to leave the link down below if you want to try it out yourself. But we're gonna go ahead and make the chicken marinade first. It just calls for soy sauce, vegetable oil, cornstarch, and they call for cooking wine. All I have is mirin. So we're gonna go ahead and make the chicken marinade. And this recipe only calls for a half a pound of chicken, but I'm doing 1.5 pounds. I want extra protein. I want extra chicken in the rice. So I'm gonna triple the marinade, just that way it's enough for the chicken, the amount of chicken that I have. So I'm doing 3 teaspoons of cornstarch, 3 teaspoons of cooking wine. Ooh, that was probably like 2. We'll just add one more just in case. There. 3 teaspoons of soy sauce. I'm just gonna mix this up to get that cornstarch kind of mixed in. And then now I'm gonna cut up the chicken I'm just gonna thinly slice it. Okay, and I'm just gonna dump it in the marinade. So it calls for 2 tablespoons. Oh, my light went out. That's okay. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. It says half a tablespoon of dark soy sauce. I don't have that, but I do have hoisin, so I'm gonna add that in. I think I'm gonna do a tablespoon of this. Two teaspoons of sesame oil. One teaspoon of chicken bouillon. I have that over there. Calls for 1 teaspoon. I'm just gonna add a little bit of black pepper. I'm gonna mix this all up. I hope this is enough sauce. I want to double it, but if it's too much, I'm gonna be sad. So I'm just gonna go with what the recipe says. The recipe calls for 3 eggs, but I am going to do 4 because protein. I'm so happy the egg prices are going down. All right, that should be mixed enough. We're gonna cut up the veggies. This recipe calls for half a cup of peas, 3/4 cups of carrot, and it calls for 1 shallot, but I'm just using half of a yellow onion. You wanna make sure that you're cutting the vegetables around the same size. I want them really small. All right, that was quick. Now we're gonna cut up the carrots. The carrots are a little bit more work, and you definitely want these small because they're the hardest vegetable, so they're gonna take the longest to cook. Okay, I just looked down, I was like, oh my God, there's onion pieces on there. Because I don't want my carrots too crunchy. I want them to just kind of blend in with the rice, you know. Try to make them like same length as the rice. All right, these are all cut up. I already have 1/2 cup of the green peas thawing out. It says we need a teaspoon of oil. I feel like this is hot enough, so I'm gonna put a teaspoon of oil in here. I think I'm gonna cook my chicken in batches. Maybe half at a time. Actually, no, I'm just gonna put it all in. I think this wok is big enough. I'm just gonna let it sit for a second to get a nice crust on it. That's the nice crust we wanted. Now I'm going to cook up the onions, carrots, and garlic. And I have it on medium-high heat right now. They said for fried rice, you're supposed to cook it at a high heat. So I am doing that. I just put it down to medium because I don't want anything to burn. I just wanted the carrots to get a head start. I think that's good now, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the onions, and then I'm gonna add the garlic last. And I think I'm gonna put a little bit of salt. I always like to season each layer. I know the sauce has soy sauce, but it smells so good in here, guys. I'm so excited to eat this. All right, I think the onions and carrots are cooked enough. I'm gonna go ahead and add the garlic. And I did 6 cloves of garlic. The recipe calls for 4, but I had some small cloves, so I added a little bit more. I wasn't recording, but I just poured in the eggs. And I'm just cooking it on the side first before I mix in all the veggies. All right, I think it's good enough to toss in with the veggies. Okay, now it says add another teaspoon of oil and put the rice in. I'm just gonna do it kind of on the side as well. Oh, that was way too much. That was about a teaspoon right there. I didn't even count if this was 4 cups of rice, so it might be more. We'll see. Hopefully we have enough. It says toss the chicken back in, but I'm gonna hold off until I break up the rice a little more. And I have it on medium right now. I don't have it on high. All right, now I'm gonna add the chicken. I'm definitely glad I added more chicken to this recipe. I had a lot more rice than I thought. It didn't say to add the peas, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and add the peas as well. Yes, that's gonna do the trick. And they said add the sauce on the outside, around the outside. That'll help give it more flavor. I don't know. I'm just gonna do what they said. If it looks like it needs more sauce, I might add a little more soy sauce. I think I'm gonna do a little more soy sauce and a little more hoisin. That was probably about a tablespoon. And then we're gonna do about a tablespoon of hoisin because I think I put in more than 4 cups of rice. I'm gonna do a half a tablespoon this time. So I had a total of 4.5 tablespoons instead of the 3 that they recommended. I just tasted it and I'm gonna add a little bit of salt because we didn't salt the rice at all. And I'm gonna do another half a tablespoon of soy sauce. So a total of 5 tablespoons of soy sauce. And on the side, we're just cooking up some of these chicken egg rolls that we got from Costco. If you want to see what I got from Costco, check out my Costco grocery haul. I'll make sure to link it here. I'm gonna spray these with the Pam olive oil just to get a nice crisp on the top. My sister tried it and she said that it could be crispier, so we might leave them in a couple extra minutes. But you're just gonna put this in 425-degree oven. And this is the finished product, guys. I just have 3 chicken egg rolls on the side with this sweet chili sauce.
This is the best sauce ever. This was a 10 out of 10, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want me to make more cooking videos, don't forget to like this one so I know. Leave a comment of the meals that you want me to make next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.